By now you've probably learned that sunlight and beer don't play well together, causing the infamous skunky flavor. However, is it just sunlight that causes this off flavor? How about the lights in my house? Also, how quickly does the reaction happen and what can I do to prevent it? Well, first, let's understand what actually causes skunking in beer. There's a great introduction on the BeerSmith website where the author Brad Smith says that some of the compounds in hops remain photosensitive after brewing, specifically isohumulones. They're a class of compounds known as the iso-alpha acids. Brad also goes on to explain that the aroma can be detected in the single parts per billion, which is extremely low. A more thorough explanation can be found in the book Brewing Chem 101, The Basics of Homebrewing Chemistry, where Lee JANSON, who holds a Ph.D. in biological sciences and biochemistry, says the following. The light-struck off flavor, more commonly known as skunky, is caused by a breakdown of the hop alpha acid humulone, followed by the reaction with hydrogen sulfide creating the molecule methylbutane thiol, commonly known as mercaptan. This mercaptan is the same molecule that skunks emit to create their infamous aroma. So essentially, it's the light that reacts with the isohumulone, which causes the reactions to create mercaptan. Well, I store all of my beer in brown bottles, so I'm safe, right? Well, not entirely. To quote Dr. Charlie Bamforth, who leads the brewing program at UC Davis, brown glass largely, but not entirely, protects against the ingress of light at the wavelengths that cause skunking. Bamforth goes on to say, on episode 58 of the BeerSmith podcast, keep brown bottles out of the light totally. Obviously, if they're hidden away in a cardboard box or something, a sealed cardboard box, then that's okay. As soon as they start to be exposed to the light, they go skunky. He goes on to say that this reaction can occur very rapidly. If you're sitting in your yard on a bright sunny day, your beer will skunk possibly before you can even finish drinking it. Okay, so what about drinking indoors? Or drinking in my basement where there is no light? Or what about fermentation? Should I worry about that? Well, looking that up, I asked that very question. What about the light from my house? Well, I found in a Q&A from BYO magazine, they go on to explain it. They say, incandescent and halogen lights emit a broad spectrum of light wavelengths and are generally accepted as the most natural looking because this broad range is similar to sunlight. While these lights do emit wavelengths that cause beer to skunk, the light color is skewed towards the longer wavelengths, yellow, orange, red, and burgundy colors, that do not cause this reaction. But what about other light sources? We're all trained to be more green. What about LEDs? Well, it turns out that most LEDs and fluorescent lights both have major peaks around 400 nanometers. What this means to the beer lovers that LED and fluorescent lights are more apt to cause beer to go skunky than incandescent and halogen lights. So LED and fluorescent lights look to be just as bad as sunlight. And though they only minimally caution us against incandescent and halogen lights, they go on to recommend minimal exposure to them storing your packaged and fermenting and or conditioning beer in a closet or under a blanket where it's not exposed. Another interesting fact that I found in that same article was that they add a final note that the beer color itself seems to yield some protection, saying that dark beers absorb a broader spectrum of light wavelengths than lightly colored beers. So as beer becomes lighter in color, then the propensity for skunkiness goes up. So in conclusion, unless you're fermenting in a stainless vessel, which completely blocks out the light, always make sure you're fermenting, conditioning, and storing your packaged beer in complete darkness to improve your beer quality.
Crack it.